Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the TBG Podcast. I'm your host, Beav Brody, and we've got Alex Christoph with us as usual. This is episode 7. In this episode, we kind of recap over the last few weekends, tell a few funny stories, and answer some questions from you guys. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Did you know that the first French fries weren't actually cooked in France? They were cooked in Greece. What's up, dude?
Just processing that. I haven't had enough coffee for that. That deep level of joke. I was reading, there was someone on Instagram that had these funny like dadisms. You know, it's like dads love to say things like, "Can't get very far without these," when they forgot their car keys and walk back in.
Right.
That's rather funny. But,
what's up, guys? Welcome back. We kind of missed a week because we were super busy last week. We did a 9-line event, and we're in the thick of it with Father's Day stuff right now. So we kind of went MIA last week, but we're back. We're back with the podcast. We got some funny stories probably to catch up on, and more questions from you guys. It was great. We did a quick. Actually, I guess that was last week. We did a quick episode. With questions. It is a blur. But anyways, the questions from you guys were fantastic. So I'm going to keep that going. And I asked you guys last night to ask me some questions. So I have another big bank of questions from you guys. So at the end of this, I think we'll do this every podcast. I think it'd be good to answer 3 or 5 questions at the end of every podcast. Would be cool. Keep you guys involved, answer your questions directly, and all that kind of stuff. But like I said, last week we were out. Actually, it was the week before. I don't remember. Anyways, we did the 9-line 5K, 10K.
I don't think we've done a podcast since that. So
we did that. Friday was awesome. It was a range day, and we got to hang out and shoot guns with the Undertaker, like the WWF Undertaker. And all the people were like, Undertaker. I'm like, do you know who Hulk Hogan is? Like, same era of wrestling. And the guy's still wrestling. He's 54 years old. He's beat up. He looks rough. He's a massive person. His knees are shot, but he's still wrestling. He's in Saudi Arabia in June fighting like a big title match thing. Anyways, super impressive. The nicest guy I've ever met. Dude can shoot some guns. They're big fans of TBG. We've sent them stuff. His wife, Michelle McCool Calloway, who's a WWE diva, superstar, champion, something. She's awesome, and we've sent her stuff. He's got a Veer Cruiser and backpacks, and so it was cool to hang out with them amongst John Tigan, who is Tig from Benghazi, 13 Hours of Benghazi, that movie, if you guys are familiar with that, based on a true story, obviously, of the whole Benghazi war situation and all that nonsense over there. But, big deal to hang out with him, and he is one of the heroes of our era, so it was really an honor to hang out and shoot guns and do dinner with him. And then they did the fundraiser that night, did dinner. We raised a lot of money. Some crazy stuff happened. Just the amount of money that was raised, even at dinner. They raised like $40,000 at dinner.
that's awesome.
It was amazing. And I won a rifle.
You won me a rifle?
Yeah, I did. I just have to get it. So Matt Lyda, if you're listening, I still need the information to get my rifle. We got to do a transfer, the proper background checks. So that'll be cool.
Awesome.
And then the event itself was fantastic. Tons of people came out. Lots of fans and customers of ours, amongst thousands of other people were there running. And they raised like $117,000 was the number I saw in total. So really cool event. If you guys aren't familiar with what 9-line's doing with the 9-line Foundation, they're building tiny homes. They're building an entire village of tiny homes to help wounded veterans with a place to live. Obviously, it's a struggle coming back into society from war in general, but here's guys that are wounded or missing legs and are handicapped in some way, shape, or form. They're also working with the Georgia Southern University for learning programs and all kinds of stuff. So they're doing some really great stuff through the 9-line Foundation, and we're super proud to be a part of that. So it's really, really cool what those guys are up to. That's that. That's the 9-line thing. That was that update.
That was that week, and then we had Memorial Weekend.
Right, this past weekend. which is another blur. We bought a boat. So we were out on the water, which has been awesome. I've been talking myself out of buying a boat. I had a boat. I mean, I've grown up we live, on the water. Yeah. So I've had boats like most of my life and been around them forever. And I had a boat up until Cameron was about a year old, and we just weren't using it. So we got rid of the boat. And then as the kids have got older now, and they've started, and we've just been jonesing to get back on the water since then. And it was just difficult with little kids. I mean, you know how it is right now for you guys. So for the last several years, it was like, and then I just talked myself out of it. I'm not going to use it. Same reason I've sold my motorcycles. And it's like, yeah, I love this stuff, or my rat rod, or any of the cool cars. And, it's like, you just don't get to use it when the kids are small and they want to ride. But the rat rod doesn't have seat belts, and it's certainly not really a safe vehicle. It's a hot rod, and it's fun, and it's cool. But I don't have the time to just go cruise around on a Saturday or Sunday by myself in a car like that, or on a motorcycle or whatever. So now the kids are old enough. I bought a pontoon boat, fun family boat, get people out there, entertain, have you guys out and the kids, and just be on the water, enjoy the environment that we live in. It's fun. It's cool. So we spent Memorial Day weekend on the water.
And how was that as far as kind of re-educating the kids on proper boat etiquette and safety and all that stuff?
It's a learning curve. They've thankfully have been on some boats, up till now, because we'd rent a boat several times a summer,
right?
Several times a year up till now. So it's not completely new to them, and we've been kind of over it in the past. But now for them to own a boat of their own, it's like, all right, guys, this isn't a rental boat. We don't just get off of it and give it back. We have to take it home. We have to wash it. We got to flush the engines. We got to get all the life jackets off, hose them down. We have really harsh saltwater environment, and we're not on a lake, right? So for everybody listening, it's like we got a really harsh saltwater environment. So everything gets taken out, everything gets hosed down, everything gets scrubbed, everything,
So it's good to kind of show them how to take care of things.
Take care of stuff for sure. It's you spend almost as much time cleaning the thing as you do using it, So,
and thankfully you know how to fix things. So inevitably, even though you'll have to.
But
some of those.
The biggest learning thing is just continuation of an ongoing thing is okay, when we're moving, you guys aren't running around the boat. You need to be sitting down, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. There's a time and a place to have fun and do things. But when we're going quicker, I need you sitting down.
Yeah.
When we're cruising at 6 miles an hour, whatever.
Yeah.
When we're going 20 because we're trying to cross the sound and it's choppy and we wouldn't get out of this, you need to sit down. We're going to be safe about it. Yeah. Hold on. And then, so Monday we were out, and I put this on Instagram stories. A lot of you probably saw this. We anchored up to Rebo Island Beach off of Hilton Head Plantation.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of Tyler Smith was out there, and, a bunch of friends out there and kids playing in the water and stuff. Well, then Tyler starts fly fishing, and there was another couple people off the side fishing. And I said to everybody, I was like, if anybody starts catching something big, I'm getting out of the water. Well, sure enough, Tyler's like, oh, yeah, there's a black tip shark swimming around right behind Tyler's boat, which is 2 boats over from my boat. And I'm like, hey, girls, why don't we come back on the back of the boat? Let's see what Tyler's talking about. So he's like, yeah, I can see it. And he's he's trying to catch a shark with his fly rod. And I was like, all right, whatever. Tyler, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sure enough, 5 minutes later, the people down on the other side of us that were on the beach fishing, this girl starts really reeling something in, and she's fighting with it. And I'm like, man, what'd she catch? A stingray or something? Because those things are hard to pull in.
Yeah.
And she's fighting when she's a smaller girl, and she finally pulls this thing up. It's a shark, little black tip. And it was probably 4.5 feet. They pull it out. Dude gets on it, pulls the hook out, and they're holding it up, and they're taking pictures with it and stuff. And yeah, it was a good 4.5 feet, because it was the tail of it was on the ground, and it was up to about our chin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was a pretty good size. So they it starts jerking around. They drop it. It jumps back in the water and starts swimming off. And I was like, yeah, we're not playing in the water right here, right now.
That's growing up, you never think about you never think about those things.
Dude,
now that I'm an adult, I'm like, I don't want to swim in the water.
Yeah,
but I never had an issue as a kid. You float around, you do wakeboarding,
whatever. Yeah, I mean, you and
matter.
I spent
now it's
so much time in the water.
I can't see my feet.
Well,
we
right now,
got really dark. I mean, it's
there's zero visibility,
visibility.
1 foot if you're lucky. And there were so many jellyfish, mobs of jellyfish.
I saw that on the beach. So we had friends come in town, and they were staying, on the beach. So we went and visited them, the whole weekend. And just every day there's just jellyfish everywhere. So my kids are 3 and 1, so we're trying to take them down to the beach, get them accustomed to it, just because we live here. And of course they want to touch out every jellyfish. That's like, but I mean, just swarms of
they were in the water everywhere. And Brandy read something about it. And the kids, we got them little nets, so like we scooped a couple up so they could see it, and then we dump them back on the water.
Apparently, there's the is it Portuguese man-o-war? I think it's Portuguese man-o-war.
Oh, I saw something about that.
Yeah, those are the ones that just destroy you. But I got an Australian buddy who's like, y'all got nothing, mate. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you got to get the ones that have like the 10-foot tentacles that just like kill you. And I'm like, yeah, but that's Australia. Everything down there kills you. You want a real shark? It's a great white. I'm like, oh man. Here's we want a real spider, right? One the size of your head. I was like, nah, I'm good on Australia.
That's funny.
I want to go visit, but man, they got some things. But yeah, we got jellyfish, everything else around here. We're playing with the kids with it on the beach. But that's just it. So let's talk about summer. So my kids are out of school. Your kids'
last day is Friday.
So
it's gonna be interesting.
So my kids, we're still at that stage where a lot of camps won't let our kids. It's usually 3 and older. It seems like. Our kids are potty trained with number 1. We're working on number 2, which I have a funny story about. I got a funny story about that. But we're in that awkward phase of can't quite take them to the summer camp and leave them for the day and really break up time. So they're just at home and trying to entertain. And then going into going to the beach, it's sunscreen and everything else. So without going all the way there, as a parent with kids that are older that can do those things, what sort of things have you found, or where do you
try to look? Yeah, it's going to be very different summer for us this year from previous years, because in the past Kendall was in daycare, which was year round. They didn't have summers breaks or anything like that. But that daycare also provides a summer camp for the older kids. Cameron went to that daycare, and then for 1 or 2 summers did their Kids Inc., which is the summer camp program for the elementary school kids.
Gotcha.
She's decided this year she didn't want to do that, which was fine because she's, they're both in gymnastics. So the gymnastics schedule is going to change from evenings and weekends to during the day because it's summer and all this stuff, which is great because it keeps them entertained during the day. And it's one less kind of activity for Brandy to have to sort of figure out to keep them entertained. But between the 2 of them, it's 5 days a week. So Brandy's going to truck them back and forth to gymnastics 5 days a week. And the downside to that, which is fine, the downside of it, though, is the schedule. It's right smack in the middle of the day from 12 to 4 or something. So if Brandy did want to take them to do something else or plan some other fun trip to Savannah or take them to do something, she can't, because it's right in the middle of the day, every day of the week. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be different. And I'm sure that'll mean late mornings for me at the office or early afternoons leaving to go do something with them randomly because it's summer and we'll take a summer vacation and stuff. But, their schedule's kind of strict to gymnastics. They got competition season coming up and they can't really miss, Cameron specifically can't miss gymnastics before competition.
I just you forget as a kid, it's just fun. You play and do everything else.
I just ran around like a maniac around here riding my bike.
I don't remember anything too young. You know what I mean? All the memories are kind of that almost 12 and older sort of, where your mom was like, here's a bike, go. And unless it was a thunderstorm or everything else, then it was original Nintendo or Super Nintendo, like Mario Kart.
You and I lived in interesting communities though for kids, for riding. They're pretty safe.
Yeah.
We could kind of do whatever we wanted.
But it's really now being a parent, you start to realize man, what did my mom or dad or parents have to do to do with us when you're not in school? You start to realize you're oh my gosh, can you go leave me now? 1-year-old, can you just go outside and entertain yourself, please?
Well, what's interesting is the things that we did as kids, I wouldn't let my kids do that now.
Specifically?
Well, when I was a kid, so I can't map this out for everybody listening because they don't know where we live, but I grew up in Palmetto Dunes. Yeah. We were kids 8 years old, riding our bikes and going across the golf course, across Highway 278, going to the mall to play video games at Aladdin's Castle.
Yeah.
I would not let my kids do that now. Then, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, but like that was the stuff we used to go chasing alligators in the canoe in the lagoon behind the house. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I would let my kids do that. Like,
I'd be interested.
Whoa, it's flickering.
I'd be interested in comments wherever you guys are watching. Like, what are the crazy stuff that you kind of did?
We should ask everybody on every episode like one question from us for everyone.
So it's like, what did y'all do? As kids that like as a parent now you might question, and then why? Because I'm really curious in the why.
Right.
So like, why would you not? Is that just because there's so much more traffic on 278?
It's madness,
right? So it's more of like
And then we used to prank my mom. We used to, and this is back before cell phones like this. We used to get on the payphone and call my mom, be like, Nick got hit by a car. It was bad. Like, and then we would tell her we were lying, and then we were in so much trouble. But we like constantly did it, which is really bad because now it's like the boy that cries wolf, like next Nick actually gets hit by a car or something. And then, oh, ha, ha, ha. Or like when I actually totaled my car and they were like, oh no, really? You need to come home. Dinner's ready. And I'm like, Mom, I'm effed up. She's like, oh my God, are you okay? You know what I mean? Like I got to drop an F-bomb to like make it serious, And it's crazy. But there was something I was gonna elaborate on. Oh, the boy that cried wolf. I mean, I already have that with my daughter, who's constantly complaining that she's sick or doesn't feel good, or she's having nightmares, and she's trying to get in my bed and all this stuff. And now she actually was sick like a week ago, and I didn't believe her. I'm like, no, I'm not. No, stop, forget about it. And then she's
take
like,
your 104 fever.
Yeah, she had like 102 fever, and I was like, oh. You actually don't feel good, do you?
It's tough. Yeah.
It's so hard, man. It's so hard. But yeah, what are things that you did that you wouldn't let your kids do, if anything?
Well, yeah, growing up around here, there's a lot of alligators. And now as I drive around my little, neighborhood and there's alligators, I'm like, well, granted, I mean, my kids are 3, but you're like, don't go fishing in that pond because...
I'd still go mess with the alligators. Like, I was the kid, like, we used to shoot them with paintball guns and stuff.
We didn't have paintball guns. It was always a BB gun. But I'm trying to think of the things. Yeah, it was go mess with alligators. That was a constant.
Throw sticks at them.
Yeah. And just do dumb stuff in the street that you're like, you got your like ramp set up, and then like, but it's on a road where people are doing like 40, and you're like maybe we should have gone on a side street.
I lived on a cul-de-sac, so I had that going for me.
I'd probably let my kids do it now, but it's always like find the biggest hill on the golf course in like the middle of the day when you got all these like retirees kind of trying to play, and I'm like riding the bike down and like off a ramp trying to like into a pond with alligators, and you're like just like dumb stuff.
I learned
to
ride my bike on the golf course going downhill. That's how I learned to ride. I crashed so many times.
Yeah, it's soft.
Yeah,
ish.
Golf course grass.
It's better than
it's fuzzy.
Better than cement.
And then we used to take remote control cars through the sand pits and stuff.
Just wreck them. Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm just trying to think.
I know you didn't do anything.
But I wasn't that crazy of a kid. I mean, I was a kid. I mean, once I got old enough, it was like I'm gonna go when like the golfer would hit the ball, I'd go like run out of the sand dune, steal it, and then like sell it back to him. Like,
you want your golf ball, man?
It's $1. Yeah, it was always there was open lots where we were, so there was a lot of like raspberries and stuff. I'd go pick it, and then like my summers were like trying to like, can I wash a car for $20? And they'd be like, here's $5 because you're 10. I was like, but $20. So I was always just, as I got older, and again, I don't really have all the memories from kind of younger than that. Although like ones that really stuck with me are the ones of really, it was like ride my bike, you play, rollerblade hockey on the street. Yeah. You do that, and now it's too hot. You go inside, you play some Super Nintendo, and then I was back outside in the evening and take a shower, eat dinner, and go to bed and do it again.
That's pretty much it.
But now as a parent, you're also like, all right, so you're outside all day. Like, did you drink enough water? Did you put on sunscreen? Because, like now you have so much information. It's like, talk about putting sunscreen on a 1-year-old or a 3-year-old. Man, that is challenging. Because they want to go alligator on you.
Full alligator roll.
Just, like, hose them down, spray them down with it, and then they rub it in their eyes. But again, it's like there's so much information out there. You're like, you don't want to be the parent where they're like, someone's taking a photo of your like lobster child. You know what I mean? Not that and you don't want them to be in that much pain. Like sunburns suck.
Oh yeah, I mean my kids got a little bit of awkward sunburn this past weekend, and it wasn't bad. They didn't really complain about it, but like Disney World, I think the last time we were at Disney World, they got some sun on their shoulders, and it like it's like you apply and then you don't reapply because you're too whatever, and then they got a sunburn on their shoulders, and then they're complaining about it the rest of the time, and it sucks. My white behind, I'm a ginger. I was always sunburned, and that sucked. I can't. Ugh. My top of my knees got sunburned this last weekend. like putting jeans, I was like, ah.
So we'll go through a few questions, but I got to tell a story because I'm sure some other parents out there.
Is this the story you were talking about?
Yeah. I'm sure some other parents, and if you got advice for me too, those with older ones. So we're really trying hard to get them to do number 2 on the potty. We've kind of gone through the boys training. We did we actually ended up putting stickers in like the potty and got like a little step stool, and they like aiming for that was like the catalyst that really got them excited about doing number 1. You know, some people I've heard put Cheerios in it. Like my concern was like then like the 1-year-old comes in and tries to eat the Cheerios. So I was it was actually my mother-in-law was like, I'm gonna put stickers in here and just see, and it worked. For us, we kind of did the whole like just cold turkey, gone with diaper. Every 15 minutes it was try to get them to go. It was always a fight, and then we did do like M&Ms. You know, it's like if you want potty, here's an M&M, and then once they got the hang of it, it was like cold turkey on that too. Like, hey, you're a big boy now.
Yeah, you don't get M&Ms.
You don't get it. But now it's like you get an M&M or a marshmallow if you do number 2, right? You just kind of. And some of our friends were like, if it's not working, just the one time to just like. You get 3 M&Ms until it like works, and then just scale it back and pull it out. So it's like one of those because we're not big on giving a whole bunch of candy and everything else. So even going from like 1 to 3, which probably sounds obnoxious to some people listening, but for us that was kind of like I don't really want to give my kid that much sugar. But anyways, incentivize to get the point across, and then scale back because then it's they lash out for a day or two. It's like. You got to learn. You just got to deal with it. And
You're off topic from your story. I want to hear about the story.
Good point. So the kids now, because we started taking off their diaper during nap time and in the morning, and like they'll hold it long enough to where like they usually pee through the diaper. So it's like they're not peeing the bed, but they're peeing through a nighttime diaper into the bed. And so they always see us take off the sheets. So the new thing now is like when they wake up every morning, even if they haven't had like an accident on the sheets, they'll pull the sheets off and take off their pants and their diaper. So I'm coming in every morning to just two kids,
naked kids, in a mess of a room.
Well, I woke up this morning to a kid who took off a diaper but had done number 2 in his diaper. So just doo-doo everywhere, everywhere. And he's like, "Oh, Daddy, I need to go in the shower." I'm like, yes, and I need to now clean.
You need a power washer.
I need to power wash my curtains and the wall, and because they took the sheets off, it's not on sheets; it's on the actual mattress.
Oh God, burn it.
So I'm struggling with how do I teach my kids to not get just naked when they wake up in the morning? That's the current struggle in my home.
Oh my gosh.
So if anyone's got any advice on how to keep boys to keep their pants on in the morning, because I get it. Like if I peed in a diaper all night too, I'd be like, I want this thing off.
Yeah.
Especially if I poop myself, I want things off. And so I get it on the So anyways, we're trying to figure that out. But yeah, that was I woke up to
a mess.
A mess.
Well, yesterday you received a picture that was kind of similar to that, if I remember.
Yes. My kid outside was like. Decided he wanted to do number 2 outside like a dog. And we're like, no, like animals go outside. So that was fun.
And then his brother was hosing him off.
Yeah, they do a lot of team stuff together, team building exercise.
I'll clean you off with a water hose.
Yeah, my dad, the other child just started hosing him off. So, anyways.
Oh man! All right, I'm gonna answer some questions now. I don't know how far we're into this, but the first one is from E.M. Fosbeer. M. Fosbeer? E.M. Fosbeer? Anyways, he says, can the podcast be longer than 30-ish minutes to an hour? Keep up the good work. It can be longer than that, I guess. And this might be longer than that.
When Alex starts talking, apparently we can hit that 30 to an hour mark.
No, but like some of it is, we want to keep it easy to digest. And sometimes we have topics to talk about longer and other times we don't. And some of it depends on the schedule. Like we got meetings and we're trying to run a business. And so sometimes it's just kind of like fit in what we can, and it's better than nothing at all.
We hope.
I mean, I guess we're entertaining, so that's cool.
So thanks for that.
Some of these names I'm struggling with. I'm sorry. Une Michelle. I'm butchering that, I'm sure. Do you also sell the patches? We do. We sell lots of patches. If you go to the website, tacticalbabygear.com, click on the drop-down menu, you can go to patches, and you can see how many patches do we sell? 20.
Oh, well, yeah, probably 20 to 30, I think, right now.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
we sell.
Then you have the variations of it. You might have a full
different
color
colors
one or coyote
whatever,
just to match your bag.
Another really good resource for patches, like we'll repost customers' pictures a lot, and there's like really cool patches on there. And there's patch groups on Facebook. Then there's like limited, like patches are a big deal for a lot of people. And there's a lot of limited stuff, and there's some that go for like big money, like hundreds of dollars for a patch. But a lot of the common ones that you see that if we don't sell, look at tacticaloutfitters.net. That dude claims to have the world's largest patch selection. And I believe it. I mean, he's got a huge selection of patches, like cool stuff, crazy stuff, common stuff, not so common stuff. So definitely check out tacticaloutfitters.net for patches. This is a good one, I think. So Rich Smith 1590 asks,
nailed that one.
Yeah, I can say Rich Smith, or is it R.I. Ch Smith? Anyways, Rich Smith 1590 asks, how do you adapt parenting life when the parents have opposing schedules? Tough. Like,
well, I guess you could maybe speak to that a little bit more than I can. Because we're on the same schedule.
You guys had the same schedule. Early on, when we had our first child, I had a business in the automotive industry, and I worked all day. My wife was working a retail job as the lighthouse keeper, and she worked all night. Not all night, but late into the night. A lot of times she didn't get home till like 11 p.m. So she would go in the afternoon, work till 11. So that meant she was usually taking the kids to daycare in the morning while I worked, and then when I got off of work and locked up the shop, like 5:30, 6 o'clock, I would pick Cameron up from daycare, and I would take her home, and then I was on night shift. I did bedtime, and I did, feeding her and bath time and brushing teeth and the whole routine. And early on, that was like walking laps around the house with her to get her to stop crying so I could actually put her down. And like, it was a mess, and don't take it lightly at all. I mean, I definitely have a lot of empathy for people that have to.
And I think a big challenge too is the number of kids. For sure.
And
at what age. But to try to adapt.
You just kind of have to adapt to the schedules. And like I said, it was like a morning shift, night shift. You just have to take turns because obviously you're not both there to do the same tasks and to help one another at the same time. So somebody's got to take the morning shift. Someone's got to take the night shift. I know someone, and daycare's a lot of money. There's some families that can't afford to put their kids in daycare because some of them, depending on where you live, can be real expensive. So there's, a dad that's maybe stays at home during the day while his wife works as a receptionist somewhere or whatever she does, or food and beverage, I don't know. And then she gets off of work, comes home, gets the kid, and then he goes to work all night. And it's like a morning shift, night shift, completely opposite schedules. But you just kind of have to take it in shifts and communicate through the whole thing. Because that can be hard on a relationship for sure. So
the only thing that we've I guess I can relate to is having the two at once. So that just kind of and not having had any kids prior to that. But the biggest thing for us was just a lot of like communication and trying to plan. If like, all right, she didn't, especially in the beginning when they're feeding almost seems like every 2 hours. When mine were premature, like just small. It's kind of like how can. What do you need from me? Okay, you need to sleep because you're tired. Can I then, during that one nap time, even though I'm tired, can I try to because we cooked a lot of food at home. So I was like, can I cut up the chicken? Can I cut up the vegetables and everything else? So at least all that's prepped. So when you got on the night shift, because I was having to take a call or whatever else, you have something that's kind of prepped to be able to cook. So you spend less time doing that, or hey, leave all the dishes in the sink. So when I put everyone down, I can clean those so you can get to being involved with the kids.
It's a lot of
so I think it's just a lot of like what can we schedule out to where when I have the 30 minutes during a nap time or the kids playing, I can maybe help the spouse do something during their time, and then vice versa. That again, it'd be almost like I'll help prep dinner if you can help clean it up, or I'll try to do the laundry if you can then do the. So I think it'd just be trying to map out what task you need done.
Yeah, and like he says, how do you adapt to it? I mean, you just have to adapt. It's such a case-by-case basis, what I mean?
Because kids constantly change. They go from sleeping all the time when they're born to not, we're transitioning from the 2 naps with the littlest 1 to 1 nap, which actually might work out better because the older ones only do 1 nap, but, it's just, once you think you got them figured out, they change.
Oh, it's impossible.
But just like in marriage, I think it's just communication. What do you need from me? What can I do for you? And then how do you divide and conquer to try to support each other on as best you can?
Right.
If you love your kids, they'll turn out fine.
Yeah.
Just give them love and attention.
Facts. Keep it local, y'all. Ask. Do you know who that is? They're local here. I don't know who actually runs that page. Anyways, keep it local, y'all. Asks, what keeps you motivated? To me, that's an easy one. Like passion. And I don't know what she's talking about, or he. This person is, I don't know who that is. I don't know. I assume they're talking about in business, like what keeps us motivated to keep going. And because, a lot of people follow like my personal page and see that we're just constantly on the move. Yeah. And that's the only reason people know what Alex is up to is because I tag him and everything. It's gonna be a joke. It's just passion. Tagging. It's just like Alex and I are so passionate about what we do and business and the marketing and like every aspect of what we do that it keeps us motivated. There's also another factor of it to like, we've also been on the other side of it to where it could all go away tomorrow. So you can't just get comfortable and like, okay, everything's cool. It's like, it just keeps like, we got to keep doing more and more and more. We got to keep going. Yeah. There's something else to pursue. There's this, there's that. And just making sure that you're trying to put your energy in the right places.
I guess what
being
motivates,
motivated.
Yeah, I think it comes a lot too from just the self-driven, just entrepreneur kind of like spirit of just wanting to build and do. But I had that with another business, but with Tactical Baby Gear, I think it really relates to, you get the feedback from like providing products and that are in a part of like a person's like very emotional time in their life. You bring your first child in, and we provide a product that I guess helps that experience and enhances that experience, and then you guys tell us that I had this with my kid, I'm more involved with my kid. Like that's really motivating to me that we're so fortunate to be a part of that experience. So we want to just keep delivering on it, and so that keeps me going every day. How can we keep delivering on the promise of helping you be better parents?
Right. I mean, we have a mission as a business to get dads more engaged, which is motivating, but also our own families to take care of. There's a motivation factor of I can't let my family down. Yeah. I have to keep doing this. And now that it's kind of grown into what it is, there's a lot more pressure on us for it to do what it needs to do. So that is, more motivated. Like we're just motivated.
Yeah, I think fortunately that gift comes from our parents, and the genetics of just, we both witnessed both of our parents
work their tails off.
Work and they gave us that work ethic, and so we were very fortunate in that. And then from there, it's just continue to drives itself.
Do you want to
be better?
There's 2 pages of questions here. Do you want to pick one? Pick one.
I mean, do you I just went to the top right. Do you vaccine your kids or wait? Oh, you already. Did you already read one?
He asked 2 questions.
That's why. Well, real quickly, I'll say from my point of view, my family is we vaccinate our kids.
Yeah,
I believe in the herd mentality of, I believe a lot of the medical stuff that has come out has debunked a lot of the, not to say there might not be a random case here and there for sure, but a lot of it has been debunked, sort of the news that's been put out there that, that vaccines are linked to any sort of disorders. Again, not saying that there might be a random case or not, but I believe as a society, the herd mentality of a lot more people being vaccinated protects more than it harms. And I'm of the mentality, if it can do more good than harm, that we should, be part of the group that helps. So we vaccinate.
Yeah. I vaccinate. I don't really have strong beliefs, and I don't really read into a lot of the stuff. There's just a lot of kind of things out there that like doctors like, hey, you need to do this, and I'm like, well, you're the doctor, you know better than I do. I'm not gonna. I don't know anything about this crap,
I know our
honest,
pediatricians do not accept kids that aren't vaccinated.
Right, and same with the schools and everything else.
Yeah.
Like, oh, does your kid have all the vaccines? They can't go to school. You're like, well, I need my kid to go to school. I'm not homeschooling. I'm not, I'm not smart. I'm not. That's not. I will vaccinate my kid so they can go to school.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of other factors into it as well. So
yeah,
I don't know. There's a lot of things that I don't do.
I think there's a reason why the measles were almost eradicated and now it's come back. And again, I think the overall health of the just the
general population,
society needs to be factored in and taken into account, because by you not doing something, if you can harm someone else, then you need to be held responsible for that. That's just my personal belief. Okay. Underscore. Like when you say someone's name, do you just say the underscore, or do you
just say underscore? We'll put it on the screen on YouTube.
Okay.
Too.
Underscore Logan Cook underscore. To not be confused. Expecting twins this week. Any advice on how to tell them apart? I can speak to that.
Go for it. Go for it.
So what we did in the hospital was we painted, because mine are like identical.
I still don't know who's who.
Most people cannot tell them apart.
Alex,
and from the back, I'm like, I got to take a second. If they catch me at the wrong angle, it's like, hey, man, Nico. So in the hospital, we painted a toenail of one kid. So we're like, all right, this, he got the little wristband. We painted that toenail. That way, when they cut the wristband off to take him home, we could tell. Now there was a mark on them, as in one of them had I think it's an extended belly button, so it popped out a little bit more. Safe, but just popped out a little more. So we also knew, like, if we got them naked, we could tell them apart on that. Otherwise, especially like infants, just any baby that's a week old, just
looks like an alien.
It's really hard. There's no definitive sort of markings on them, especially when they're first born. But so I would say, like, if they come out and they're like identical, I would put like an external mark on them. Like, we used like an all natural
nail polish.
So, granted, they can't really reach their feet at that age.
I'd have tattooed my kids. But
so we did that for like and we kept up with it, like every week we put a little bit more just to make sure. So that's what we did up until they started like kind of getting their own little personalities and everything else. But literally, you might have to put a little mark on them for like 6 months.
Yeah.
Until you can really start to notice someone else's feature, or you find that one little like mole on them that you're like, all right, on that left butt cheek, like that's John.
Do your kids have the same birthmarks and stuff?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like when I started looking at him, I'd be like, you know what? He's got a crinkle in his ear. That's Nico. And then I'd be staring at Max. I'd be like, He's got the same crinkle. Like, but then like, so as they get older, like one might start to get a little bit bigger, than the other one. Like might hit a little growth spurt, and so you can start to tell them apart that way. But like when they first come out the womb and they're identical, like you literally got to go with the like physical outward mark, or else you're gonna switch them up.
So funny.
Until they can talk, they can
pick one more,
until they do something else.
And we'll wrap it up.
You just good luck. And don't overpack just because you have twins.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to want to spend a whole day out if you don't have to anyways. So you don't need 20 pairs of diapers. You just bring 10, because after 5, you're going to want to go home.
Okay.
But yeah, and support your spouse as much as you can, especially if they try nursing, because that is a challenge.
Jordan Jones, Relentless Mama, just had twins, and she's always like, is it a bonus? It's like, Hey, any tips to take my kids outside fishing? Bonus tips if you have good tips for twins. Like, twins is a whole other beast, and multiples of any number. Twins and triplets and. All right. Did any of you guys have triplets? Let us know.
I knew some people that did.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So there was someone that already had 2. They were trying for number 3, and got 3, 4, and 5.
Yikes. Yeah. That's crazy.
No, thank you. All right. M.C_808 asks, how much paternity leave is the right amount? Take all at once or in increments? So I guess being that we're obviously self-employed, it was, how do I just balance everything? Because I need to be on at home and I need to be on here. But I do have some opinions on that from a standpoint. Just haven't talked to friends and just kind of seen the progression. Obviously, a lot would depend on how much maybe family support you have. Is her mother going to be around? Is your mother going to be around? Do you want your mother around? How much involvement do you have and how many kids you have? But like, let's just assume first-time parent and like you are going to have some family help or really good friends. And the company you work for obviously provides some decent paternity leave. I've heard a lot of my friends say that they took the first week off to just help and be there. Then they waited about another week, tried to use family help on that second week, then took a third week off, tried to have like the other set of family, if they're around, especially another mother, come in and then take like another week off. So kind of spaced it out, because what I've always found is that like first week when they're like sleeping while you're kind of sleep deprived and trying to nurse, it's kind of in that like honeymoon bliss stage. Mm-hmm. And it seems like, especially for the female, if they're nursing and everything else, seems like like that end of week 2 going into week 3, all those emotions and hormones and everything else starts kind of crashing down. And that's where you really need to be there to support them, be there to really take charge, because they're on that high for those 2 weeks and then they really burn out, rightfully so. So if you can be there to support them. So the people that have had to kind of juggle that, they've always said to they've always spaced it out a little bit more. Yeah. Be there in the beginning, and then especially if you can get some friends and help, and don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah, get all the help you can get.
Hey, friends come over and they want to see my kid. Hey, but can you do my laundry? Like, they're here to help. Like, if they're good friends, like, they're not necessarily like the kid's gonna sleep. You look at them, you smile at them, but like, don't have your friend just sit there on the couch. Like, hey, can you help me?
Yeah.
And if they're friends, they will. Like, don't be afraid to ask for it.
And if they won't help, kick them out and don't let them come back.
Exactly. Exactly. And don't be afraid to be like, hey, like, I'm not gonna like, you haven't slept. Like, someone can watch your kid in your own home if they're a friend that you trust. Take a 45-minute nap if you can get it in. Like, you don't need to hang out with your friend while they stare at your child who is sleeping.
Yeah.
Like, take advantage of it as much as you can.
A lot when they're like, what's the number one advice? I'm like, sleep when the baby sleeps.
Yeah.
Unless you have other things you need to do.
I mean, obviously, like laundry's not going to do itself, and food's not, I mean, obviously. But,
take advantage of when the baby's sleeping.
Try to take advantage of it with the help you have.
Makes sense, yeah.
But anyways, I've always heard trying to space it out to hit those good times when your spouse is, or baby mama, whatever, you know what I mean, girlfriend, just really hitting the wall there.
Yeah. That's show. I can't really speak to the paternity leave thing, because I had my own business when we had our first kid, and then again with the second, I was still, there was a short period of time where I was working for someone else, and that's a story for another day. Anyways, I was lucky enough. We were scheduled for induction on a Monday, and then we went to the doctor on like Thursday for like a checkup, and they were like, "You are ready to have this baby. Do you want to do this tomorrow?" And then I'm at the shop, and Brandy calls me. She's like, "Hey, they want to reschedule instead of Monday. They want to do Friday." I was like, "Perfect. That means less days I have to miss," because like, I was my business, and if I wasn't in there fixing a car, we didn't make money. I didn't have a lot of cash sitting in the bank to just take a week off and have my business shut down for a week, because I didn't really have other employees working to run the business. And, I had one other helper, but I couldn't kind of like, that means he wasn't working for a week and make it just wasn't really an option. So I think I took that Friday off. No big deal. Took a long weekend. We were out of the hospital by Sunday night, if I remember right. I kind of went in, opened the shop Monday, had him kind of working on some stuff. I went back home, and thankfully my shop was like 3 minutes from my house at the time, so I was able to kind of bounce back and forth throughout the day and just check on things or run over there if I had to. But there, being self-employed, there's no time off. Like on vacation,
you're always working. You're always
there's no time off. Like you're always working, which is a pro and a con. Like we enjoy it. We signed up for it. I'm not going to bitch about it. That's what we signed up for. And everybody wants to. The one thing I hate the most, like when I have worked for other people, the employees, they get pissy about, well, the boss makes all this money. Well, the boss is risking everything. He's the one with all the money out there to lose. He's the one with the name on the sign that has a reputation to maintain. He's the one that's working all the time to make sure that there's a business that you can be employed by to get paid. Why shouldn't he make more money? You know what I mean? Anyways, I don't know where I was going with that. It just popped in my head as I was talking about something, but I just got
rather strongly about that.
I was triggered. Oh man. Anyways, we're going way off in left field now, guys. Maybe this was over an hour one for the person that was asking. Hard to say.
I can't tell on the screen.
I don't know what that says either. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Leave any of your answers to the questions in the comments below. I will make sure to pay attention to Instagram stories because I will put another thing out asking for you guys' questions that we can answer here on the podcast for the next episode. And we'll see you guys there.